Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 11 Pro Max and compare it against the iPhone 12 and see which particular iPhone is a better one for you. Now, the thing I will definitely tell you about both these particular phones is that there isn't necessarily like a perfect one here, but I do think in some ways the iPhone 12 is probably the better one for the average person. We'll talk about that throughout this whole entire video, but if you want to pick up some iPhones that I would recommend buying this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular iPhones, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which came out back in 2019, on the front of this particular iPhone is giving you a 6.5-inch Super Retina OLED display. Now, it's a very good panel. I liked this panel when it first came out, and it still is such a strong, beautiful panel for sure. You're getting the notch up top, a little tiny bit of bezel around it, but it's still a very good looking display. And I definitely do think this is probably one of the best, it's not the best displays, but this was one of the better displays of 2019. It was still giving you a 60 Hz panel at the time, which is still perfectly fine for the most part for a 2019 phone. And overall, still a pretty good looking phone when it kind of comes down to it. On the iPhone 12, on the other hand, this particular iPhone is giving you a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this, in my opinion, is probably the significantly better device when it kind of comes down to it. It's just, I think, a better panel. It gets very bright. You get the notch up top. Again, same as the other iPhone. A little bit of bezel around it. But the thing I like the most about the iPhone 12 is the fact that it does have, this like flat side to it, which is a lot more modern than the curved side on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So it's just one of those small things to keep in mind. Again, it's not a deal breaker or anything, but it is just one thing to keep in mind if you're getting either one of these phones. So kind of keep that in mind. On the sides though, I will say one of the advantages for the iPhone 11 Pro Max is the fact that it is kind of giving you this like reflective material on the side. So that right there is something really nice going on for the iPhone 11 Pro Max. And that is something I like a lot about that particular iPhone. Like if I'm going through and if I'm getting any sort of device, I like the iPhone 11 Pro Max from that perspective. And this in and of itself is a very, very nice thing going on for this particular phone. But beyond that, both phones feel kind of, similar. Nothing at the very top. At the bottom, you're getting lightning ports on both, as well as the speaker grills on both as well, which is another very nice thing. SIM card trays on both these phones as well. On the back side, you're also getting a very interesting thing here as well. So on the back side of the iPhone 12, you're getting this dual camera setup. So that is something that's pretty nice going on for this particular device. But the iPhone 11 Pro Max is giving you a triple camera setup. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this video. Getting the standard glass back on the iPhone 12, which still looks and feels pretty good. The iPhone 11 Pro Max, on the other hand, is giving you this frosted glass back, which feels amazing. I love having these frosted glass backs, and it's easily one of my most favorite things going on for my 11 Pro Max. It feels so good, and it makes this phone feel so much more, like future-proofed in a lot of different ways. You're getting wireless charging on both. You are getting this MagSafe capability on the back of the iPhone 12, which again is a very, very nice thing to have inside of the iPhone 12. And that kind of covers it up on the outside. You're getting IP certification on both iPhones and lots of good stuff, wireless charging as well. But I definitely do think if I'm going to pick up one on the outside, it might be the iPhone 12. I think this one feels better in the hand, but the iPhone 11 Pro Max is the more expensive feeling iPhone when it comes down to it. Now, in terms of software and longevity, the iPhone 11 Pro Max pretty much is not going to last as long as the iPhone 12 as far as I can tell. This iPhone has an older chipset than the iPhone 12, but also, this phone's still going to be lasting probably for another 2 years. So that right there is a kind of good thing going on for the iPhone 11 Pro Max when it comes down to it. So this in and of itself is a very, very nice thing. With the iPhone 12, this is also a very beautiful iPhone. It's still going to be lasting for several more years. So I wouldn't really complain about the software side of things just yet. In terms of performance, let's go and do a speed test. The iPhone 12 has that Apple A14 body chip inside of it with 4 GB of RAM. Where the iPhone 11 Pro Max has that Apple A13 body chip inside of it with 4 GB of RAM as well. So let's go see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, as you can tell. So let's get into it. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Okay, music 3, 2, 1. Okay, this one is offline. I don't even know why. Photos 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Camera 3, 2, 1. Let's go and take a photo. 3, 2, 1. So it looks like 1 second versus 4-second time difference. Not really too sure why there's this big of a difference here on the night mode, but maybe the iPhone 12 is that much better. Mail 3, 2, 1. A little bit of a restart on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Clock 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Let's go and hop out of here. Let's go and do settings 3, 2, 1. Perfect. And just scrolling through, I don't think there's going to be that big of differences, but between both, it is very nice because they're both at 60 hertz, so it's not like there's going to be a big difference there. Hopping on about these, let's go get into some of these other apps. Let's go into Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And so far, actually, both have been doing pretty solid. I don't think there's one that's been like consistently beating the other one, but let's go and see it. I think the iPhone 11 Pro Max won here, but it's only because the downloading content and downloading thing on the iPhone 12 is taking a longer period of time. So that right there is kind of an annoying thing going on between both. I don't know why there's no Wi-Fi here. Maybe because I'm kind of far away from the Wi-Fi router. Maybe the iPhone 12 has better Wi-Fi, capability than the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Maybe that's why. I'm not really too sure. Let's go get into here. Let's get out of here. Let's go get into the actual game. So I wouldn't put this one that high, just being honest. I don't think it's this big of a difference when it kind of comes down to it. The performance is probably going to be fairly similar between both. Hopping out of here. Let's go and try a different application. We can try something like Subway Surfers, which I don't even have. Stack 3, 2, 1. And between these two, I just hopped on the ad on this one. Again, I think the iPhone 11 Pro Max might be the fastest one here. But I don't know how much of that is because of the Wi-Fi and because of the lack of Wi-Fi thereof. Getting into this game, about the same thing. Hopping out of here, let's do another one. Netflix 3, 2, 1. And again, the Wi-Fi is just so annoying. Staying for Splox 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 Pro Max again was the faster one here. So I'm not too sure what to make of this one. Like, I'm not too sure if the Wi-Fi, was this big of an issue or this big of a problem between both. I guess we'll see what ends up happening, in the long run. But as of right now, that's kind of how both these iPhones kind of hold up from the speed department from that perspective. Now, from the camera side of things, these particular iPhones, as I mentioned, giving you pretty solid cameras. The iPhone 12 is giving you a wide and ultra-wide camera. The iPhone 11 Pro Max is giving you a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens. So it is very nice that you're getting a pretty solid camera on both these phones, which is very, very nice. You're getting wireless charging on the back side, like I talked about before, but these cameras, 4K 60 on the front and the back, is a very, very nice thing to have. Now, with the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I would say the main advantage of this particular iPhone is the fact that you are basically getting this telephoto lens on top of the ultra wide that you're getting on the iPhone 12. So you're getting 10x zoom here, which is very nice, and then 0.5x zoom on the outside. You're still maintaining video mode, slow mode, time lapse, portrait mode, panorama mode. Still lots and lots of good things going on for the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and it is a very, very good camera when it kind of comes down to it, for sure. With the iPhone 12, on the other hand, this is also a very solid phone that I actually like a lot from the camera side. So with this particular phone, you're getting 5x zoom here, which is half the amount as the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but you're still maintaining that ultra-wide camera, which is still a very, very nice thing to have. You're still getting video mode, slow mode, time lapse, portrait mode, panorama mode. It's still a very, very good camera on the iPhone 12, and I do think this is probably the better one when it comes down to it over the iPhone 11 Pro Max when it comes down to it in this particular side. So when it kind of comes down to everything, what I'll tell you is that I definitely do think the iPhone 12 is probably the one that I'd look at as probably being the significantly better one. Pretty much, not significantly better, but I do think this is the better one in a majority of ways. So I do think this is probably the phone that I look at as probably being the one I'd recommend a majority of people to buy. And I do think that in and of itself is a very, very nice thing. I think the 11 Pro Max is a very good iPhone. I like this iPhone a lot. And this one is probably the better one for a lot of people. But it's cheaper, it's older. It may not last as long as the 12, but the size of this thing is my biggest turn off. But it might be a turn on for you, and that might be a reason why you may want to buy it. So that pretty much covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.